control panel. Everybody, how about just typing hello in there for now, that we know that it's working and you're able to do that. So give that a shot and test that out. On control panel, under questions, you could tell us where you're from. Hi, hello, Amanda. Great. Hope everyone's doing well today. It's a gorgeous day here in New Jersey. Mary Lee's joining us from North Carolina.
Yep.
She's on the line. And then we have Nikki, who's our technical support, who's also in New Jersey. Hello, Angie. We have some of our team members joining us today, too. All right. Well, we appreciate you all taking the time to come today and learn a little bit about what we've learned in the past couple months. Hello, Eileen, Betty Lynn. She says, hi, Mary Lee.
Hi, Betty Lynn. Thanks for joining us.
So what we're going to be talking about is renovating the design industry, media relations and digital strategies in the new normal. So yes, some of us may have been sick of hearing the new normal, but in essence, it's only been a couple months and so much has changed, and it is kind of, some of us have settled in, some of us are constantly pivoting and changing as the day changes. So yeah, in essence, it is sort of a new normal for us all. So we're gonna have about a 45-minute presentation. You can, like I said, ask questions in the question bar, and we will answer those at the end. And then we're gonna start. So more than ever, how you tell your story and represent your brand is crucial to your success in this new climate. Don't lose your audience and get left behind because you're not doing anything right now and you're expanding. What you can do is connect with the people that are online now and expand your virtual community to take your business to that next level. Here's a little bit about myself. I'm the founder and creative director of Ultraviolet Agency. We're based in Homedale, New Jersey. We are a marketing agency specializing in manufacturers, designers, and creative brands. I bring about a decade of experience working with companies and influencers. And also, I really enjoy telling the stories of my clients and also connecting them with the right audience on social media. So that's a bit about us. You can read more about me later. Mary Lee Howell is the PR consultant. She is a PR strategist. She designs and executes plans that contribute to business objectives while counseling clients through the ups and downs of communicating with their publics. She has a deep understanding of the media, and she has more than 20 years of experience in the home and garden industries to bring to you today. She's worked with brands like Universal Furniture, Bassett Furniture, Bob Timberlake, William Platt, Louisiana Pacific, and many more. She's also a member and past president of With It, a leadership organization for women in home furnishings industry. So learn more about them if you'd like. You can reach out to Mary Lee after the talk, and she can tell you how you can be a part of that group. She said they've been active recently. With Mary, you said you've been having online Zoom chats and all supporting one another during
in fact, I just missed our noon Zoom topic today, but yeah, they're doing a great job keeping everybody active during the stay-at-home period.
Great. And as we all know, we'll talk about in this presentation, community is incredibly important right now. We're going to talk a little bit about how to tap into that. Today, we're going to review the mind shift of the media to help you communicate better, to create relevant, helpful, and story-driven content that engages your audience, and how to build strategic partnerships between your brand, your influencers, and the media. Also, how to leverage those smart social and digital strategies to help your business thrive. And yes, a lot of businesses are doing well during this time. Some of our clients, specifically in the home decor industry, home renovations, and there's just a new way of people are doing work, and we're doing our best to support that. So we're going to have some Q&A at the end too, because I'm sure some of you have questions. For everybody that joined us on the call now, there's a questions option in the control panel. If you have any questions, you can put them in there. And then following our talk, which will be about 45 minutes, we're going to take questions. So just feel free to hop in and say hello now, just to kind of test that and see if it's working for you. And without further ado, I'm going to present you to Mary Lee Howell, and she's going to talk about understanding the media shift.
Thank you, Jen. I will try to talk as slowly as I possibly can, but I have so much information today that, as my mother says, I might go too quickly. So you can address that in the question section, or we can talk about doing a one-on-one afterwards. I've spent the last 3 weeks talking with editors from coast to coast, both the magazines and newspapers and also freelancers, to find out what's changed in the world since the middle of March and what that means for you. So the first thing we're going to go through is what the changes are, and then later on we'll address kind of what that means for you as a designer or a brand and how you communicate with them. So just to sort of set the stage, the last 15 years have been a great shift in the home and garden media landscape. We've had a lot of print publications close, as you know. The people that are on the masthead, which is the people that are employed directly by the magazine, those people have shrunk, and then newspapers have lost their home sections altogether. So let me go forward one slide for us. So Jen, I need you, there we go, stop right there. So kind of what's going on is that before we had the pandemic, you see on the left, we had lots of designers and brands, and they were pitching on the right-hand side this smaller group of publication editors. And that was tough, and it keeps getting a smaller group. And then after the COVID-19 or during it, you go back, and on the left-hand side, we have the same number of designers and brands pitching an even smaller number of editors on the publication side. So there really has been this shift. We may have fewer editors, but they're probably pumping out the same, if not more, content. So that's something to keep in mind as you go along and interact with them. And I'm going to need you to keep going forward for me, Jen. There we go. All right, I'm going to go through a few different items that I was told by editors. And again, later on, we'll go through sort of what that means for you and how you interact with them. And the first thing is about the storylines, and the storylines are adjusting to the new normal. So I was talking with editors that, you know, if they're at a print publication, they're working a minimum of 6 months in advance. So they're starting to work on holiday content right now. And what they're saying is that, you know, we'll be told that the traditional holiday gatherings, like you see in the bottom right-hand corner, may not be happening. It may not be 20 people around Aunt Martha's cherry dining room table this year. People may be celebrating differently. So when they're creating content for the holidays, they're being asked to be very sensitive to that. So how is that, as an entertainer and a style person, how is that going to be different? What tips can you help them out with? The second, photography. This is a big, huge hole. So for the last 2 months, publications have not allowed to do photo shoots. So there is a hole in their pipeline. Not only do they have this hole, they also may not be able to do a lot of photography going forward, whether that's for budgetary reasons or that it's too difficult to actually make those happen in the next few months. So I think it's going to be tough for their summer issues to get the photography they need and the early fall ones. Next, reduce use of freelancers. So a lot of times magazines and other publications will use freelancers to write stories. Well, some of them have actually frozen out their freelancers for the time being. I was speaking with the Associated Press, who's done just that. Their freelancers are frozen out until at least June of this year. And we'll talk about what that means for you later on. Last point on this slide, the desire for increased digital content. So we may see some print slowing down, but the amount of information that people are consuming and want to consume is increasing. So all these editors that may have been just writing for print are actually probably doing double duty now and really producing a lot of digital content. And Jen, you're going to have to keep taking me forward one. There we go. Thank you. So what's next? Another slide of all these things that I was told over the last few weeks that are challenges for everybody. Reduce frequency or print abandonment altogether. In the bottom right hand, you'll see an email that Jen actually got from a magazine called Flea Market Decor, which has completely abandoned their print publication. Some have done that. Some have moved from print just to solely digital. Some of them that are print have actually reduced their frequency. So a magazine that was doing 12 issues a year, maybe doing 10 issues a year. And what that means is reduced chances for editorial for an opportunity to be seen in their pages. Fear of travel. I spoke to an editor who does a lot of overseas work for trade shows, and they bring us all those great things that happen in Maison or Salone when they get to happen again next year. But what they're saying is they're really seriously considering not going to these shows, not only for themselves, but also their employers don't want to take the risk. And part of the risk they're worried about is getting caught overseas and having to be quarantined and not being able to come home. So we're not exactly sure what that means for the editorial that'll come out of those shows, but it is something that's to keep ahead of. Next, furloughs, pay cuts, layoffs. Every industry, nearly every industry has had this, and editors are certainly not immune to that. There are some publications that have been doing 50% furloughs where half the workforce is laid out at a time. There's some that have done outright layoffs. I've had responses from editors that saying they're on temporary layoff or unknown furlough, and also pay cuts. The people that have stayed on as employed above a certain salary level, a lot of them are expected or will be taking a big haircut in their paycheck. So this is a tough time for them. Again, the amount of work that the people that are left doing hasn't changed, it's increased, but what they're getting paid for it has. And the last point I want to make about things that are changing is this sort of pandemic friendly, the pandemic fatigue timeline here. Well, I was talking to different newspaper editors, and one of the things they said was right now, like immediately right now, middle of May, that stories that are related to COVID-19, the coronavirus, and design are still playing well. For example, it may be, changing out your home office, which everybody, including myself, is looking at these days and going, what else do I need to do if I've got so many Zoom meetings? So those things are still playing well, but what they're saying is as we go into the summer that there's going to be a consumer fatigue, that they're tired of hearing about COVID, that they still have to go on with their lives. And so these editors are looking for uplifting storylines that are more distracting and not related to coronavirus. Jen, if you'll take me through one more. Sorry, Jen has to be my assistant today. Here's just an example when I was talking about editors being laid off. There have been tens of thousands of journalists that have been laid off since early mid-March. And there are things like this from Pointer. There's GoFundMe pages for journalists that are helping them pay their living expenses during this time because so many of them have dropped off. Essentially what pays their salary is the ad revenue that keeps these publications alive, and the ad revenue is declining rapidly. Okay, let's go forward one more, Jen. The tone of stories going forward. I was talking with a newspaper editor, and what she was telling me was she's got to be really careful about what she's writing about in the second half of this year. Because she's a newspaper writer, she has a very wide audience, as opposed to someone who might be reading a high-end magazine that would be a more narrow focus. And her challenge was that I can't really write about luxury items in the next 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, 6 months. Because that's going to be a little tone deaf and insensitive. So I really have to be careful what kind of stories that I'm telling and looking for things that are accessible to readers. So Jen, take me forward one, please. Okay, so back to what does it mean for you and your interactions with them as a designer or a brand? The first thing is to just remember their situation. There's not a lot of money in editorial unless you're at the top of the masthead. So although some of their jobs may seem glamorous, and they are, the fashion, the travel, the beautiful items that they get to come in touch with, it doesn't mean that they're making a lot of money, and now they're being furloughed or pay cut. So it's a super tough situation for them. And that sort of goes along my last point on this slide, be patient. Be patient with them. It may take longer for them to get back with you. I just received an email from an editor last week who had been on furlough for a couple of weeks. And so, her first thing was I'm sorry, I've been out of the office for a couple of weeks. I haven't responded yet, but I've just gotten back in and seen your email. So you have to be a little more patient than normal than you would with an editor. Widen your most wanted list. So a lot of us have that same top 10, top 20 publication list that we'd all love to see our brands in or our work in. And what I'm saying to you is make that a much wider list. There are a lot of great people on the regional side of the business these days, they're really doing well. They're doing phenomenal editorial. The layouts, the content is beautiful, and the houses that they show are just, and products are just grand. And there's some indication that advertising sales on a regional level are doing better than they are at the national level. So, which means you have more room for editorial content at a publication whose advertising is going well. So more opportunities for you. Next, your photo assets. If you'll back up for me, please, Jen. Your photography assets. This is a great time to go through the photography you have of your products, of your projects, and catalog those for an editor and reach out to them. So for example, if you have 3 or 4 houses that you haven't shown to anybody yet, you can't just send them a Dropbox link of 100 images. Those need to be cataloged and organized and labeled in excruciating detail for them to be useful to an editor. Again, that editor doesn't have the time they used to have, and so you need to do part of their work for them. So the person who presents the most information, the cleanest, all things being equal, will win. And then before we jump forward, stories that work in the new normal. Again, we talked about what might the holidays look like this year, what might Thanksgiving or Hanukkah or Christmas celebrations look like. And as many of you are great entertainers and style people, how can you suggest that people who necessarily can't be physically together this year for the holidays celebrate in ways that still connect them? All right, Jen, take me forward 1, please. I was speaking with the editor of a digital style magazine, and one of the things she talked about was the photography that's coming in. She's like, now is the time. Now is the time to catalog those assets and reach out to editors and collaborate on story ideas. And what she said is a lot of people have just found that time already, that there are a lot of designers that have used this downtime to go through all the photography and then reach out for things. So this is certainly the time to be with them. These people are going to be in their home offices, which makes them a little more likely to be accessible because they cannot travel to all the markets on all the trade shows and all the showcase homes. So they're going to be at home at least till mid-June is what it's looking like. So the time is now to reach out to them. All right, Jen, 1 forward, please. I want to switch gears to talk about a slightly different topic, and that is communicating in general, whether that's to editors or to your clients or customers or to your suppliers. And we're taking a page here from the Edelman Trust Barometer. Edelman is kind of a worldwide top resource for public relations. And they do a study every year called the Trust Barometer, which looks at how consumers interact with brands and their beliefs about them. And their latest one was done in March of this year. And one of the things they highlighted is that people are going to judge brands by their response to this pandemic, to this crisis. And one of the things they say is that we have a consumer that is perceiving that a brand is putting profit over people, they're going to lose trust in that brand. And that's also going to relate to sales of the product. So it's particularly important, your tone of voice and how you carry yourself through this crisis. Okay, 1 more, Jen, please. So a few suggestions for that. Number 1, always be honest. Honest and transparency is very important, especially now, whether you're talking to a consumer or a supplier or a magazine editor. Be truthful about what's going on. For example, maybe your upholstery line is backed up for 6 weeks because of this. That's understandable. They would rather you tell them that up front than have to figure that out all the way along in a different situation. Don't overpromise. I know everyone here has seen the messages that say we're here to help in any way for anything possible. That's not true. It's better if you can be specific about things. For example, on the right-hand side, I've blocked out sort of the identifying details, but this was a design account that says, we're here to help you in any way you can. You're really not. These are desperate times. And so people that are in tough situations might question that for you. For example, that $17,000 custom sofa you ordered 2 months ago that hasn't come in yet, you know what? Their stock portfolio's down, and they really need to scale down to like a $5,000 sofa. So why don't you eat that difference? That's not good. be specific in how you can help them. Maybe you're there for virtual design appointments, for curbside design. I saw a great picture yesterday of a Schumacher rep sitting on somebody's front lawn showing them the new fabrics. I thought that was a great way to do business in these times. But again, be more specific about what you can help with and not so vague and open to yourself. The people that you're communicating with will appreciate it. Couple last things here. Resist hashtag hijacking. Say that 5 times fast. There are people out there, if you'll go forward when more Jen will look at this, people that are using COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic in completely inappropriate ways. Leave those hashtags for the medical professionals and the news journalists who need to use them. Essentially using them in something that is lifestyle oriented is very opportunist. And again, people are judging your brand on how you're responding to this. Okay, Jen? All right, my last section, and then you're done with my Southern dialect and I can turn it over to Jen. Talking about interacting with editors or maybe it's even customers, but talking about creating that, what you're communicating to them as a story. For example, your latest design project, let's say you have a beautiful New England shore home. And so what's gonna sit across your design, across from it being beautiful, from a different story being told, is how well you tell that story. So what we're doing here is just taking a page from classic literature here and looking at the elements of a story and how that might apply to a design story that you're telling to a publication or to your customers. And so every good story starts out with characters. Who are the characters in your story? Maybe it's Bob and Rachel. He's a retired HR executive outside of Boston. She's a tech CEO. And they're a lovely couple that you've worked with many times. You've actually designed their brownstone in the city. And now they're looking to do something different. The setting for this couple, imaginary that they may be, is the New England coast. It's a place that they've always wanted to spend some time on, and so they're trying to spend more time on the coastal part rather than in the city. And so the plot is what's happening, what's going on, and what it is with this couple is that they are getting older and they're really ready to spend more time on the coast. So they're starting to move to New England coast, where they may spend a few days a week in the city. The majority of their time is going to be out there on the coastline. And so you're hired to create a beautiful home for them. The conflict. Now you might want to consider that challenge. What was the challenge in your design situation? So for my imaginary couple, Bob and Rachel, the challenge is that Rachel's elderly mother is beginning to live with them part-time, and they also have a special needs child that will live with them through adulthood. The biggest challenge is that their little house on the New England coast was built in the 20s and wasn't designed to accommodate any of these life challenges that they're doing. So that's the challenges, is like, how do you make that house livable for them in their life situation now? And the last thing, the resolution, that's how you mounted those challenges. What did you do in that home that helped them create their dream situation to live out their life on the New England coast? For example, it could have been widening all the doorways to accommodate wheelchair access. It could have been creating an in-law suite, so Rachel's mother feels like she has some privacy and some space of her own. One final thing I promised before I turn it over to Jen, just talking about looking at the content that you have to share with publications. Just a word on that. So there's enough content to go around is kind of what I'm saying. A lot of times magazines, of course, when they want to show a house that you've done, they want to see everything. They want to be the first, they want to be the exclusive, and that's totally understandable. So, but you can also take tidbits of that design and use it for your social channels, which is what we're gonna talk about briefly. First, just save those big pictures literally, for the big outlets. So the rooms in a home that a magazine is definitely gonna wanna show, they're gonna wanna show your kitchen, your living room, your dining room, a master bedroom, and most likely a master bath. However, if you'll go forward one more slide, Jen, there are also smaller elements in the home that you can carve out and have stories on your own channels with, without destroying the potential for a larger story. For example, here I'll look at a mudroom. Beautiful mudroom, but probably isn't visually capturing enough to make it to like a top 10 or a top 20 book. So you could talk about the mudroom. On the bottom left, very strange angle from the living room, but it does just show a sliver of the piece of upholstery. So maybe you want to do a story about the performance fabrics that you used in the home and how you selected those. And on the right, just a little vignette. Doesn't give away what the pool or the cabana looks like, but could it even be about how you accessorize in odd numbers or how you set a scene? And with that, I'm going to turn this over to Jen and let her talk about digital partnerships, which she's an expert in. And thank you for having me on today.
Thank you, Mary Lee. Appreciate it. And I can listen to you speak all day. So now I have to listen to my Jersey accent. Yeah, so really the work that you do and the storytelling and helping people solidify their message is important then to how to translate it and take it into the digital arena. So let's hop into that right now. Building and launching strategic digital partnerships. Before I start, I would like to apologize. I know there were some people that were unable to log in earlier in the presentation, so apologies to those of you. Mickey, I hopefully got in touch with you. I think it was a matter of refreshing a browser here or there, so thank you. This is our first webinar. We will be having more, so it's great to be able to include that information in the emails that go out to you. All right, building and launching strategic digital partnerships. So let's just move my little control panel out of the way and get right into it. So I'm going to have some case studies from actual recent projects that we've been doing with clients, and hopefully those are helpful to you. So our new normal, bringing that up again, we have to talk about this and the cancellation of markets. We were in the midst of several of them. I mean, we had High Point Market we were prepping to go to with a client, and since those were canceled, and we were just actually coming back from the Design Influencers Conference in San Francisco, which is where I met Mary Lee, everything turned into plan B, right? How are we going to launch a collection? How are we going to do that online? How are we going to do that for the trade versus the consumer? How is that all going to look digitally? So we have spent a lot of time scrambling to come up with plan B with a lot of our clients, but since digital marketing is a constant, it was more the matter of tweaking and pivoting. So it was all the clients that were killing it at digital marketing already with ebooks and workflows and blogging and social media content and live events. This was just adding and supporting that even more. And also, in just these 2 months, we've seen, partnerships come off, more virtual tours, Instagram live talks, Zoom chats, all of this coming to life. And also, we've become a lot closer with the sales teams, supporting them and integrating a lot of their needs into the work that we're doing. So we do have some manufacturing reps on this webinar, and we also have designers, and then some publicists and marketing reps. So we have a big array of different people. So if you have specific questions to ask after I speak, I'd be happy to talk to you and get more in detail about anything that I'm referencing. But overall, we see that the customer is online more, right? They're home, they're online, they're searching, a lot are actually even shopping. So let's take a look at the types of partnerships that can turn your work from home life into an opportunity to evolve and grow your business. One thing that many of you probably see as a no-brainer, Nielsen reported that 92% of consumers trust referrals from people they know, right? I mean, so people they know, it could mean an influencer that they follow, a designer that they love, they want to hear from them. It could be a friend, family, and it could even be a manufacturer that they're following. So what are the 3 reasons? There are 3 reasons to kickstart a partnership in a pandemic. So meaning really right now, we're not in real life face to face with each other. How are we gonna create and develop those relationships that we may not have already been doing? So one reason is you have stunning professional photography, but you lack the words. You have a large network with no virtual events to engage them, but you also have new products to launch, but your trade shows were canceled. So let's get started and look at some of those examples. But before we do that, let's look at what makes a good partner. And this is a picture of Joanna Halley's wiener dogs in Seattle from JoJo-tastic. fall in love with them. You can follow her at JoJotastic on Instagram. What makes a good partner? Responsiveness, communication, reach, awareness, authenticity, creativity. It could be one thing, all things. It's depending on what you're looking for and what you want to get out of the relationship and what you can give to the relationship. But these are just bullets, and you can probably, I'm sure every one of you can add to this list. Potential partners, they could be the media, bloggers, influencers, manufacturers, showrooms, organizations, and associations. You may have just see a design influencer like Kyla of House of Hipsters on the right here as your gateway to her audience. You love her style, you love her personality, but you can also see that there are manufacturers and other partners that you work with that also could be great partners in this journey to get your information out. Let's go into those partnerships right here. 1, you have stunning professional photography but lack the words. Hopefully you all have a library of photography at the moment. A lot of the times people do, and as Mary Lee stated, that's a lot of what the media is looking for. So if you can cultivate that story, you can take those photographs, bring them to life, talk about them, create that, that story that you need, and you can also share that content on social. So Alyssa Gangone is an interior designer from Atlanta, Georgia. We connected with her on behalf of our client Polycore on Instagram. We found that she had used the marble in her kitchen. What was so great about this is, though she didn't have a large following, she had a phenomenal project, gorgeous kitchen, and she may have had a small audience, but this also had a really powerful story. The quarry where she got the stone was about 45 minutes from her in Atlanta. So what's really important to people now is sourcing locally, sustainably, because we have a worldwide issue right now with securing materials. So this was a really great story that we're in the process of sharing and getting out there. And what was the win for her? Well, for her, we found her and she gets this professionally written project feature that we're going to interview her. A writer's going to put that together. We're going to feature it on Polycore. She's going to get the digital clout and exposure that maybe she did not have, because she's focused more on the agency she works for and less on her own personal brand, which a lot of designers, you know, they do, and then they're caught where they want to build that brand for themselves. So this is a start for her. The kitchen's going to be featured on the blog that's emailed to 25,000 subscribers for Polycore, and then also on their community on social media, which is 65,000 plus. So for her, that's her win. For the manufacturer, obviously, like I said, the story was huge for them, sourcing local, this gorgeous photography. I'm not gonna lie, the picture on the right of the bar, I mean, how many drinks and cocktails are being made during this stay at home, work at home life? So she had all this great photography that was relevant in the moment. So the photography, the content for the website, an authentic story, like I said, new sales opportunities for their sales teams, because the photography that she had helped, again, show the material in a new space, show that it was local, so they can start working with the designers in that area to let them know, hey, we can get material to you very quickly. And then also we had unbiased customer insight. We worked with a designer several years ago when we were pitching Alberine Soapstone, which is quarried in Virginia, for Polycore. And we found out that designers said, oh, you know, I'm afraid of that green patina that the stone gets. And we found out she wasn't the only designer that felt that way, but Polycore's soapstone that's quarried in Virginia doesn't turn green like a Brazilian soapstone. So we were able to take that and then write a whole series of content to educate other designers and people interested in that specific stone. So it kept more of a true black, which is what they wanted. And now soapstone's doing very well. Actually, the whole campaign that we worked on has helped a lot with that product and the sales teams. So that unbiased customer content is very, very important. And then also we're going to have the designer host some live events on Polycore's Instagram account. They do very well. We actually have one going this week from M.A. Allen on her project. She just posted an adorable picture of her children climbing all over the countertops. All right, so the second reason is because you have a large network with no virtual events. So our client, Smith Honig, Kelly Smith, Kelly Smith and Melanie Honig are the founders of the globally inspired home decor brand Smith Honig. And when the coronavirus hit, they really felt helpless to help. And they knew they were designers. They knew they weren't, you know, they weren't on the front line being able to help in any other way. But what they knew was that they could bring color and style and happy to a room for somebody who needs it right now. So they had this 3-week-long contest called Stay Home with Smith Honig on Instagram, and they partnered with 6 designers over that time, and we were able to award 3 winners. The one we just awarded last week, there was a Los Angeles school principal, a floral shop owner, and a healthcare worker / student, and also a new mom with room refreshes. So we're very excited to do that. It was a really feel-good project, but we also had this amazing network of people who helped grow the brand and company, and they're actually doing really well right now. So it just goes to show when you come up with an authentic campaign or project, people could see that and they could feel the authenticity behind it. So it was a win-win for everyone, and also helped Melanie and Kelly feel good about being like able to do something. They weren't helpless during this time. So next for the brand, they're going to be launching their new Pantera and Moxie fabric and wallpaper patterns, and they have fun, really great partnerships in the works. Now this was supposed to be launching at High Point Market, and they are doing some work currently with Steelyard and on High Point Market at home, sharing on social the materials, but this is also something that's launching to the trade and designers first. So they're unique in before that they sold to designers at wholesale, unlike some other companies. So they always had that going for them, but now this is the opportunity to get the word out even more to designers that they do that. So we're going to be sending packages to the High Point bloggers. For that, they were going to have the bloggers tour, so we're going to send some materials out to them because unfortunately, obviously, they're not going to be there to get those. And then we're going to send them to past bloggers as well from that event, let them know about the ability to purchase those at wholesale for their clients. And then we're also going to be working with an influencer to feature the product in homes. So we've set this up before. So Jill Marlowe is going to be using the Pantera for a piece of furniture that she's redoing for her bedroom. So that'll be really exciting. And then also Melanie, who's an artist herself, is creating Zoom backgrounds for the material. So you'll be able to go to the website, sign up, and get some really fun backgrounds for your all those Zoom calls. So it's just being creative and having, for them, it's many partnerships make the whole, right? For them, they have the stamina and the energy, and they also do not have a lot of the red tape that a lot of other companies have to be able to just go and act very quickly. So here's another company that we work with called Island Stone, and they're a tile company in Carlsbad, California. And they said, no trade, so no problem. So Jennifer, who is the director, the head of marketing over at Island Stone, is fabulous to work with, and she's always has great ideas. And right away, their number one concern was working with the sales team. How do we work with the sales team and our technical team to help educate their customers? And their customers, you know, a lot of them are tile setters, tile installers, showrooms. They were going to be launching at Coverings, an event. They were going to be launching this Glass Essentials line. So what did they do? They went on the technical side. So they said, okay, we're going to have our technical director, David Fatula, who had never done any live events before, but is extremely educated and is seen as a big icon in the industry, to lead these Tile Tuesdays. And they've been wildly successful with just educating the people involved, and then also keeping the momentum going for these new collections that they're launching. So the partnership here that I'm talking about is, you know, you're partnering within the company, people that you work with. Who is the person that's going to put their best foot forward for you, and is going to be able to give the technical advice that others need. So you could see here, David's Tile Tuesday, we focus on tips with working with a tile installer. So we also, that was to help educate the consumer that was going to hire the installers that they work with. And then we also here have a Zoom meeting, which they did in lieu of not having that covering. So they had the executive team get together and put that Zoom that's available on their website. So these one-on-one calls with sales reps and sample orders from showrooms, designers, and tile setters are happening, and it's happening through this concerted digital effort to do different things and step outside the comfort zone for some, like their director of technical services. And this May, they're going to be launching a new Cascade collection, which is textured glass tile. It's gorgeous, and I can't wait to use this myself since my home is like one big constant renovation. But this campaign is going to target tile installers, again, with the technical events, social media, and the digital assets. And they're going to be partnering also with showrooms. As you see, a lot of showrooms are being really creative about, you know, tile takeout, virtual tours, so just making sure they have all the assets they need. And again, Mary Lee touched on this, but having a library of assets and materials to really share whatever someone needs to promote your business, to tell your story. If they don't have your images, if nothing's not clearly written out, put in a Dropbox. There's another great tool that my client uses called Brand Folder. These are great ways to put all your content to be able to share with the media and partners. So we're left here. I feel like I spoke really quickly, like every good New Jersey in, but we're happy to answer any questions you might have. And then also, just to let you know, I'm gonna pull this up on the slide too, Mary Lee and I are doing one-on-one sessions. They're 45 minutes. You can schedule those. We're gonna have the link. Mickey will be adding the link into the question module. And then you'll also be getting an email from us with the recording from this webinar, as well as the link to do your session. We're charging $185 for the session. It's a one-on-one with you, and then also you receive a post-event wrap-up to give you some tips to discuss the needs that you have. I mean, we're really open to talking about your goals, your current strategy, and maybe there's a campaign that you're like really fixated on and needs a little more support tweaking. And Mary Lee, of course, can help you mold that story to push out to the media. And don't forget, gift guide season's coming up. So I know, can you believe it, Christmas? So we're all going to be sending out now those ideas for holiday gifts out to the media. It'll be interesting to see, like Mary Lee said, how that's all going to change as far as, because we don't all know what the fall is going to look like. And I think having that plan B now for your plan, having that plan C for your A and B now is how it's going to work. And thank you all. Again, I don't see many questions, but I'm so thrilled to have had so many of you join us. Let's see what we have here. We have, no, just kudos from you all. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Mary Lee appreciates it. If there's nothing else that you have for us, we'll be sending out this recording and hope to be talking to you soon on our next webinar. If there is a topic, we'd be open to hearing that too. We did say, I guess while you're all on still, one of the topic ideas we had for our next webinar was how to handle launching your product to the trade versus consumer. Like, how will we navigate this in this new no in-person event world, no market, no event. So if that's something that you think would be of interest to you, just say yes in the questions, or if there's another topic that you think you'd want to dive into of anything we spoke about, happy to do that. There's so much here. I mean, I have a team that could talk about Pinterest for probably 2 hours alone. So Mary Lee, do you have anything you'd like to share with the group?
I don't. Thank you. I will say I think you're right on about gifting might look different this year, just like entertaining the holidays might look different this year. And I think my guesstimate is that it's going to go toward more personalized gifting than we've seen in the past. So much of it might be remote this year than it is in the past. So, but you're right. It's actually time to start pitching for gift guides. Essentially the July is when it's really rolling strong. So thanks.
So this July, and do you think we're going to have more bloggers we're going to be pitching versus media because of the less print publications, or do you think that is going to be one of the print publications that many people keep, which is that November, December issue?
There's going to be a lot of digital content. You're going to see a lot more digitally, and essentially what I typically see as far as prep goes is there are the people that really are in long range prep in July or even June. But July is definitely like the latest that you want to start. And then you see short lead people doing it in the fall. And then you see last minute people, which are typically a lot of the digital pubs or websites that are churning out content day after day after day. They may be doing it on a week's notice in the middle of November. So I kind of have almost like 3 pitching periods for it.
Great. So yeah, we hear Ellen saying, Dorian saying, sounds good. Thank you, Jonna. This is well done. And Ellen, so yeah, I think we have a couple topics to think about. We have gift giving guides, and we have trade versus consumer product launches. So I appreciate everybody's input.
Thank you.
And yeah, there has been discussion. There has been discussion, Ellen says, in some media about the decreasing impact of high-paid influencers. Do you have a point of view on this? Yeah, there's discussion to me about the decreasing impact of high-paid, decreasing impact. I'll let Mary Lee speak, but like right off the bat, I'll tell you, tracking the value of your influencers is very important, and setting your own budget for what, you know, a lot of our clients have a budget just for the product they're going to give, and then they think about the budget for paid. So that off the bat, and if someone's out of your budget, that's gonna right now that'll knock them out. But you know, again, a lot of these people are deserving of payment because they work really, really hard. So you have to think in terms, what are you asking? It's actually a talk that I did at the Design Influencers Conference. What do you want from an influencer? If you want a sale and that's all you want from them, then you need to think about the tracking links, truly how much you're going to pay, what you're selling, if selling one pays for the project in itself, or do you have to sell 500 of something? Or do you want those beautiful professional photos and how-to videos because someone is so good at this and you'd rather have it come from them than you, because we did see how it said over 90% of people go to someone that they know to purchase something. So, you know, you're really putting the value on that. They put a value, or some agency puts a value on what their value is, but they go by their numbers, which you can have really high numbers and then low engagement. So it's a game like anything else, and you just have to lay out what are you looking for, what's important to you, what do you want to get back. That way, if it's not sales, did you get the photography? Did you get the video? You may have paid them $1,000 and got $10,000 worth of video and photography. So that's what I always lay out to our clients. Mary Lee, do you have?
You're the expert on influencers. I just have 2 commentaries. You don't have to be large or high paid to be influential. You know, there's a lot of talk about micro influencers these days, and I just read an article, Ellen, this morning talking about the importance of using influencers to promote your brand these days. Not necessarily high value or high paid ones, but just because it's a more personal, authentic connection to your brand than a straight out advertisement.
Yeah. Okay, I have one big question before we let you all go, because I have so much talent on this webinar right now. I have a bookcase, a custom bookcase that I am creating for a wall. I don't know if I could show you all of this right now. I don't know if you're seeing this, but that's the wall and the bookcase is going there. I'm painting it teal. What do you all think about teal? And in a room, large scale, would you do a pattern rug or would you do a neutral color? Sorry. I'm using you all for my own personal benefit. But if you'd like to answer that, that would be much appreciated. Teal colored custom bookcase. Should the rug be patterned or neutral? Thank you. Appreciate it. Do you have any design question for the group, Mary Lee?
No. I love designers. I value them for advice. I can't give you any recommendations because I hire people to answer that question for me.
Yeah, see, I should have done
that. I have beautiful curtains. I didn't choose this. There's some phenomenal designers out there.
Now I'm like a real jerk asking for free advice. But yeah, why don't you reach out to me? Maybe I could hire you to help me, like Mary Lee said. That would be wonderful. But thank you all for joining us.
Thank
We'll
you.
definitely be in touch and let you know when the next one's going to be on. And sign up for those one-on-ones. Mary and I are indeed humans, and we don't know how many we can do. So please schedule them if you can, and that we can get you on our calendars, and hope to talk to you again. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Have a great afternoon.